Hello, it's me, one of your hosts, Daniel. Joining me is your other host, Eric.
Hello.
Today we are revisiting one of my favorite shows that we've talked about on this podcast, The Good Place.
Wow, wow.
That's right, folks. Today on the podcast, we're breaking down The Good Place Season 2. Real quick, Eric, if they haven't listened to our Season 1 review, should they go do that?
Yes, go do it.
Yeah,
It's just like what? Like it was like last month we uploaded it,
yeah, it
right?
was it was in September, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, silly
Yeah.
Billy. Go watch our Season 1 review. Link will be in the description. Then come back, listen to this episode. This will be part 1 of 2 of Season two's review. What I'd like you to do is hit the subscribe button, click that notification button so you don't miss out on part 2 of our Good Place Season 2 review. That's a tongue twister.
Just a
And
little
why
bit,
don't you?
yeah.
Just a little bit. If I didn't have that right now, I
Well,
wouldn't
two
have
of
been
two
able to
of
do
two of
that.
one of two.
Uh-huh. Sit back, watch, listen, and digest. This has been noted.
I got it.
This season starts off right where we left off in season 1, which I didn't really think about how much this show like picks up right where the last episode left off until you mentioned it
Yeah.
in our review. I mean, I had watched this show like 5 billion times, so it was just like so used to it that I didn't really think about it until when we were talking about it last month. I was like, holy shit, it does. And season 1 does the same thing. It leaves off right where it
Oh yeah.
picks up right where we left off.
Yeah, there's no end to an episode. It's just the beginning of the next one.
Exactly. They do a really good job of there never being like real big time skips, and when there is, it's like within the episode
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
So we figured out they're in the bad place. Eleanor, at the end of season 1, put a note in Janet's mouth right before they got rebooted to find Chidi. Then Michael reboots all of them, and they lose their memory. We now know Michael's a bad guy. And if he messes up in his attempt number 2 of this experiment, he gets retired. Bing Bam Bada Boom gets tortured, put his essence on the sun, and his testicles smashed repeatedly for the rest of his life. They changed it in this reboot, so none of them are soulmates. So then there would be more of like a slow burn. So all of the soulmates in particular are as well, which is a weird dynamic for humans. Because they're not meant to like their soulmates. So this episode goes through everyone's perspective, which I think is a super cool way to kind of do the pilot of season 2.
Yeah.
And we start off with Eleanor's perspective. Eleanor is going around trying to find a Chidi, or what a Chidi is.
Yeah,
She
I love
runs
that.
into yeah, I love how she calls Chidi like a soup.
Yeah.
She runs into Jason, and he gives her some gear, which she then dubs a wizard amulet.
Yeah.
Which I don't know about you, but every time she calls it a wizard amulet, it makes me laugh so much. And the fact that like it was given to her by Jason of all people, the last person that would be a wise wizard like she thinks he is.
It's pretty solid. I feel like it's on brand for her character.
Oh
To
yeah.
be
Oh yeah.
mesmerized by a
A
cog.
gear. Yeah. Oh, and season 2 is cool too because like where season 1 starts off where we don't know anything about them being in the bad place or that in the neighborhood like they were before, but now we have like the veil has been pulled from our eyes. Now we know there's a bomb underneath the table, but they don't. Which
Oh
is
no.
which is a really cool way to now look at the show, like the perspective of it. And I
Yeah.
recommend watching season 1 over again to anyone after you watched it, just because you get like a whole new viewing experience.
You really do. And
Oh yeah.
even with like the ending of season 1 when they show like Michael like doing all like the behind the scenes things, like taking other demons to Eleanor and Chidi's house. You know, like when
Yeah.
yeah. You just
The
get to
couple
see.
counselor
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
You get to see all of that and then just be like, "Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense."
And yeah, you can tell the little bit of like the intent behind what he does, like how he kind of pushes them into uncomfortable situations that surface level don't seem bad, but really once you look at them, like, you son of a fork. But yeah, so she gets the wizard amulet. Then demons are trying to get Eleanor drunk, but she won't do it because she has a big speech ahead of her, and she wants to find Chidi, this magical soup. Then it goes to Chidi's perspective. He's not soup. He's a person. Chidi's given multiple soulmates, and he's forced to choose which one he wants. And Chidi's the only person in the universe who would be like, here, you get to choose who you want to be with, and he makes it hard on himself.
Of course.
Um,
Actually, that's a lie. He would not be the only one because I would be there with him.
fair. But I don't know. I would almost rather be like, here's 3 people that you might get along with. Choose which one you want more. Than here's someone you're forced to be with. Bye. You know what I mean? I would like to choose over an arranged marriage, and Chidi wants that arranged marriage.
I can agree with that, but there's something about just being like given to you and saying like this is how it's supposed to work. Like that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I agree with Chidi is that decisions are stupid.
Decisions are hard.
Yes. And
my fantasy team would know that.
Dude, I like seeing how indecisive he is. I feel.
Is it enlightening at times?
No, it's not enlightening. It's gruesome and it's terrible because I see myself in that, and I'm just like, oh God, just make up your mind, dude.
Mm-hmm. He then is about to choose. Michael jumps in so conveniently and says, actually, these soulmates aren't yours. This lady isn't yours, the one he was about to choose. This one's yours, the one he wasn't hitting it off with. But he doesn't have the guts to say anything about it.
Yeah. This first episode is like 40 minutes, by the way. So the way that they tell the story is kind of like from the middle, right? Isn't that this it's this episode where they end it with the party, and then the rest of it is like through each person's perspective of the party, like leading up to the party, right?
Well, no, they start the episode from Eleanor's perspective.
Yeah.
Going to the party, and then they go from the beginning to the middle from everyone's perspective,
right,
and then
right,
once
right,
we've had everyone's perspective, then we go from the middle to the end.
Yeah.
So we see like the beginning.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And so you get to see like the middle to the beginning, so all these different times, and you get to see like, for example, in Eleanor, she's about to pour herself shots, and then she hears Chidi and Monique get in a fight, and she says, I can't do this with you right now, Chidi. And then that's when she pushes the shots away, and then she goes to talk to Chidi. And so like and then we see Chidi's perspective of him talking to Monique to get in that fight at the party, and we see Eleanor in the background about to take shots looking up at Chidi.
Yep.
And then we cut to Tahani's perspective, which hers is the funniest to me because her house is tiny. Her soulmate's tiny.
Yeah, the exact opposite of season 1. Like, it's just hey, Tahani, fuck you. Like, that's the beginning of season 2.
Yeah, they're like, we gave you everything you wanted, and maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
And so they made her soulmate wears cargo pants, so she starts wearing cargo pants, refers to herself as a plumberess.
Yep.
She starts to lose it. Eleanor says, here, you can have these, and pushes all 4 of the shots of tequila she was about to take to Tahani.
Yep.
And then she gets drunk and crashes Eleanor's speech. And that's like how they like tie that in. And then we see Jason's perspective.
His is my
favorite. Is it?
Yeah. Him being stuck with an actual monk.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that made my day.
And so he's stuck with, he doesn't have like a soulmate, but he has like someone who's supposed to be like, his best friend.
Yeah, it's like his soul partner, essentially. Someone who he can confide in.
He's trying to get away from him the whole time, and so what he does is he undoes the cog on his front bike tire, and that's what he gives to Eleanor when she runs into him. And what she calls the wizard medal, medallion, the wizard medallion.
Yep.
And then we get Michael's perspective, and this is what ties it all in.
Also my
Michael,
favorite.
yeah, I love this part too because yeah, it's Michael just gives a gigantic speech to all the bad people, and he's like, look, what we're gonna do? Torture her.
Yeah.
And like he's like giving like a pep rally, and this is when we really get to see that Vicky's a mensch.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I fucking hate Vicky. Not as much as Beth, and people will get that reference.
Oh, Bev, yeah.
But Vicky is
Yeah, Vicky's a
I
different type of
liked her way more as good Eleanor.
frustrating. You're supposed to.
No, I'm aware.
And then we then see Eleanor run out to the party and to Chidi and shows him
Oh
the
yeah,
paper
they dip
with
out
his
into a
name.
side room. Yeah.
Chidi pulls Eleanor to the side and says, I know that page. I know that book.
Yeah.
She's like, what? It's like, that piece of paper with my name on it that you showed me? That's from a philosophy book.
Yeah.
They go to Eleanor's house to talk about what's going on. Michael, with all the demons, being like, they're like, well, at least we got a drunken speech. She's like, no, you idiot. Eleanor's supposed to give the drunken speech. If Tahani gives the drunken speech, that's bad because Tahani is supposed to think she's meant to be here, not Eleanor. And then they run back to Eleanor's place. Tahani shows up. Michael shows up. Jason shows up. All their soulmates show up. And that's when Eleanor figures out that they're in the bad place. And she's like, and we were once the bad of you. I had this note. And Michael's like, well, at least I know why this shit hit the fan so quickly.
Honestly.
And reboots all of them because Eleanor cheated. And that's the end of episode 1. I love how they go through all the same events and under different perspectives until it all is brought together. I think that is
it's a good first
unique
episode
way to do it.
Yeah, it really is.
Plus, it's kind of cool to like watch them go through not the same exact events as season 1, but like the pretty much like the telephone version events of season 1.
It gives you a good like, hey, if you missed season 1, like this is pretty much. I mean, there's a lot that you missed, but it at least gives you like, this is what season 1 was being told.
Yeah, exactly. We then go into episode 2. We see Michael starting to go through many reboots because Eleanor keeps figuring out what's going on and figures out they're out in the bad place. So Michael has to reboot them about 100 times. And some of the many phrases that I love is Busty Alexa, what she refers to Janet as, which is my favorite fucking line, dude. Janice, Busty Alexa.
Yeah.
And then Jason figures it out one time because that they're in the bad place because there's no NFL red zone.
Yep.
Which when that happens in the montage, Michael's like, "Oh, this is a real low point." Jason figured it out. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
In one of the reboots, Eleanor figures out they're in the bad place because there's a 3-hour spoken word jazz concert by her soulmate to her.
Yep. And she's just sitting there like, this is the bad place.
There's no way this is the
Michael's
good place.
just on the piano.
Yeah. No, he was on the standing bass.
Oh, right.
So what do you think of like the montage, like the scene when Michael like starts talking to Eleanor about like what's going on in that noodle? Why do you keep figuring me out?
some of my favorite scenes, honestly, dude. Like, I thought I'm not saying that that's like a highlight. That is a highlight of season 2 for me, actually.
Oh, if I had not seen that so many times, it's still one of my favorite parts. Like when I first started watching the show, I went back to that scene alone.
Yeah.
So like this episode, because I love that montage. I totally get it, dude.
It's so good. Just because like the first episode, I really feel like the first season ends with episode 2 or with episode 1, just because like we really find out like what's happening, and I feel like season 2 really starts with episode 2 because then it's just like, oh fuck, we're just gonna keep rebooting until something ends up happening, right?
Yeah, that's when it starts to pick up
Yeah,
more. Yeah.
and I think that I think that episode 2 is a good season. Excuse me. I think episode 2 is a good episode 1, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because like it's really when we start getting into what the plot of season 2
Yeah.
is in episode 2. Because episode 1's kind of just laying the groundwork of how we get to episode 2, like the point in episode 2. Because right now, either Michael makes this work and he keeps everyone under wraps, or he and all the reboots under wrap, or he's getting retired. So he really doesn't
Yeah, because he's
have
only
any
supposed to be
outs.
on attempt 2. He's
Yes.
actually on like 150.
Oh, way more than that. He does like I think they talk about later. It's like 800 plus reboots.
Mm-hmm.
So then the bad demons start a coup with Vicky at the helm. A coup. And Vicky demands that Michael reboots the humans and goes with her plan and the other demons' plans. And if he doesn't, she's reporting all of his fuck ups to his boss, Sean, and showing them how attempt number 2 is going. Eleanor and Chidi see the demons out of their costumes. Eleanor and Chidi go to the meeting place, and Mindy explains that all their plans they have tried already and shows him the board of all the shit.
Yeah.
And Jason's gotta catch that magic panda. But then we figure out that Chidi and Eleanor loved each other in another reboot. What do you think about that? Do you like that ship?
Yeah, I'm about it. I mean, I don't really care.
Fair. Plus, they're not the same people in this reboot. So
I'm just if anybody needs to be with Eleanor, it needs to be Eric. She is my favorite character. She's hilarious.
Yeah. She's great. And then Jason gives Michael advice and says he needs to find a new dance crew.
Yes.
And Eleanor and Chidi go back to save their friends and stop Michael. When they confront Michael, Michael tells the humans he wants to join their dance crew and help them.
Dude, that was so funny.
I love that Michael starts asking Jason for advice, and then, not just advice, but he's like, I just need someone to bounce ideas off of. And then Jason's about to go into like a long tangential story, and Michael's like, no. Okay, and you can't really stop him.
I love how Jason has always been that character for Michael, though. Like, even in season 1 when he would just put his hand on him, and then it would work.
Chest.
Yeah.
And even Michael's like, how is that working? Why is that working?
And he knows too. That's the crazy thing.
He knows he's not a monk.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing, and it still works.
It's great. The thing about Jason I love is he doesn't have a lot of home runs, but when he does, it makes it even better.
Yeah.
Like, the moment you underestimate Jason from being able to, like, make any significant impact, he does, and I love it.
That's big.
So, would you go back to the neighborhood, or would you stay in Mindy's place, Eric, if you were in Eleanor and Chidi's position?
I would go back to the neighborhood. I would end up killing Mindy, dude.
You would end up killing Mindy?
Yes. She's so annoying.
She just wants cocaine and sex.
Yeah, I'm aware, and I love the gift that she gets later
at the end. Yeah, but halfway through. Yeah.
But like, dude, she's so annoying.
Yeah, she's a unique individual, that's for sure. Yeah. The fact that she's like, yeah, you guys usually go back one reason or another. Either you walk in on me masturbating, I walk in on you masturbating, or something, and then she made porn of Chidi and Eleanor.
Yeah, yep.
Episode 3.
Yes, sir. Okay, so after Michael pitches them the idea to stay with them, Eleanor's like, nah, I don't want to do that, but that she comes around, right? the thing about it is that since they're all gonna be pretending that they're being tortured because they're not gonna get rebooted again, and so they all have to pretend to be tortured, which I feel like I think that this plan is good, but I also think that it's like stupid because I feel like the other demons would know, don't you think?
I mean, they're all really full of themselves. At case in point, in episode 4,
Yeah.
their torture for Chidi is literally just needles. No, not in episode 4, like episode 5. So I don't
Yeah.
think they would. I think they're all really full of themselves and kind of stupid and not in their element with this type of torture.
Yeah.
And without Michael giving them exact, like,
Guidance.
they're really bad at the torture. And so they just, if you play dumb, they'll follow it. You know what I mean?
That makes
They'll
sense.
fall for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It like I like the plan. Like it makes sense, but at the same time I was like, I don't know about it, you know? But
It's not perfect,
it's
but
not
it's like
foolproof, but
it's their only out.
exactly, which is why I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But Michael says that he will get them into the good place if they join together and make a group of friends. And so Michael shows Tahani her death, which is like also one of my favorite scenes in this show because it is the funniest and the saddest thing that could ever happen. So she goes to one of her sister's like parties or whatever. And so she like shows up to this club and she like, gives her sister like yeah, fuck you kind of thing, And then
You didn't invite me.
yeah. And so she goes and like she walks away and then she's like ow, look at me now kind of thing. And she like pulls her sister had a statue made of her, okay? And she pulls the statue down and it splat and it's just like it's so sad, but at the same time it's just like that's hilarious.
It's the most Tahani way to die.
It is, and it's so sad. Tahani is also one of my favorite characters. I think
she warms up on you, doesn't she?
I mean, I liked her even in the first season. She was a little annoying, but like I still liked her. But the more that we learn about her, the more that I like her. Simply just because of like her past relationship with like her parents and stuff like that. Like never showing her like any kind of love affection. And then like having to always prove herself to be the most posh British lady in the world it's just a really good front. And I like to see when like later when like her shield breaks essentially, like it's nice to see like towards the end of season 2.
Exactly, because like the nice thing is like there really isn't like out of all the main characters like my favorite 2 are Eleanor and Michael, but it's still even hard for me to decide which one I like between them the most. But it's even hard for me to say that they're my favorites out of everyone because all the characters are so good in their own way. They all grow and they have so much depth.
Yeah, I mean,
and she
besides Jason,
they show a lot. Even
no,
Jason,
I joke. The man's just
so
dull.
far from he is dull, but to be fair, from what you've seen so far, they haven't really showed that much.
No.
Once you finish the show, Jason makes so much sense of why he is the way he is.
Oh, I believe it.
Does he have as much depth as the other 5 of the group? That includes Janet? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
But does it explain why he is the way he is? Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But then Eleanor gets caught by Michael when she tries to run away and gets told what would Chidi do, essentially. The good old WWCWD, right? What would Chidi do?
Because Moon said, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she asked Michael, like, how many times in all the reboots did Chidi help me when I asked for help? And he's like, every time. That pesky little nerd always got you better. Watching Michael backhand insult them all while still trying to be their friend is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Dude, him in this season is everything is gold. It's
Oh,
amazing.
it is.
It's absolutely amazing. But Michael Fake's reboot, they are in a new neighborhood where Vicky is in charge of everything.
Yeah, because the humans agree to work
Yeah,
with him.
yeah. So, Daniel, would you work with Michael? That's the question. Bam, bam,
I
bam.
I think I would because I might be I might like turn on him in the end, but I think I still would because like he said, you don't really have any outs, and I would even if you're being tortured, like I would still rather be aware of it, you know, and have some type of freedom in the fact that like Michael's kind of helping them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than just be rebooted and be like unknown, like unknowingly know that I'm being tortured. You know, like not have any knowledge of what's going on. So even though it kind of sucks, you're still in a bad spot. You're in knowing what's going on is slightly better than not knowing.
Yeah, it gives you a little more control.
Exactly.
I could see that. Do you think that you would be like Eleanor, where you were like kind of slow to help him, or do you think that you'd just be like, yeah, fuck it, let's work?
No, I would definitely be slow to help him because like Elmer said, like why would he want to help us? He only wants to help us if like he gets something out of it or he has a reason to do it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like he's not just gonna do it. And then also it could just be a trick. We're in the bad place. We keep catching on to him. He's trying to trick us or something. Like
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
you
yeah.
I mean, you can't just like agree with him. You need to understand his motives behind it. And then her forcing him to go to their ethics classes
Haha,
are
yep.
it's it's so great because like we're jumping a little bit into episode 4, but in
That's okay.
episode 4 he like at the beginning of it he's like okay, and I guess I'll he's like they're like she's like we'll start a class, and Michael's like okay, I mean you know this is ridiculous, right? Like do you know like me doing this is nonsense. I'm not gonna like
He's not gonna learn anything. Yeah,
I'm not gonna learn
he's
anything
an
like I
immortal being.
nothing you could tell me is something I don't already know, and it's garbage.
Yeah.
What about you? Would you join Michael? Would you work with him if presented in that situation?
If I were in this situation and Michael were to be like, "Yo, let's just team up," I'd be like, I mean, yeah, I would. I think I would. I think I would simply just because if I were to know the knowledge of me, like figuring it out 800 times, right? I
Hmm.
would then just be like, yeah, I think I should just know. I think, if anything, I actually feel like that would be torturous to know. Not gonna lie.
I mean, it still would suck, but I feel like you could at least do some, like, you would have a little bit more control over the situation, be able to actually escape from it, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But if you were to like, okay, so if you were to like, big picture, right? Let's say that you've figured this out 800 times, right? And 800 times you never knew, right? And then you find out
Hmm.
that that's happened to you 800 times, and then you choose to live with that. Like, I just feel like that would kind of suck ass. Cause then you'd know that's
Yeah.
like that was the last time that I'm ever gonna actually figure out that I'm in a place that I'm being tortured for eternity. You get what I'm saying? Cause
Yeah, there
like
would be no
all of those
more
other
they're
times you're like working towards
ignorant.
something. Well, not even that. Like you're working towards something because you're like trying to solve the mystery of like the big thing that's happening, right? Or it just kind of like falls onto you and then everything gets reset. But like if you were to just go back and watch season 1 800 times, like before Eleanor finds out, like she goes on a whole adventure, right? And then she comes to the realization and then she just gets to live like none of that happened and then do that all again. Like I don't know. I agree with the fact that knowing would be nice because then it's like okay, let's actually get out of here. But then at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's a big question.
Yeah, I it would suck either way. It would suck ass. I'd be
Oh
being
yeah,
tortured
no, yeah,
800
it
times.
would
It'd suck
suck ass
ass.
either way.
So episode,
Well,
let's see
to just go
here.
off of where you were saying, so he goes to ethics classes with Chidi and the rest of the group to try and become better people, and Chidi tells him to think of him being retired, to like, because he's immortal, right? He can't die. So he's like, just
Mm-hmm.
imagine you being retired. And he goes into like a, a midlife crisis, except not mid, existential, an existential
Yeah.
crisis. And it's amazing because we get to see a version of Michael that is so interesting. um Later, or not later, so before ethics class, I think the demons task Tahani with throwing a party for Gunner. And and but the trick is that the demons are going to throw a better party for Gunner, so that nobody shows up to Tahani's party, and so she feels bad about herself. Well, that's when we get to see um Las Vegas Michael.
Yeah, Las Vegas Michael that
Cocaine
looks like he's
Michael.
been on that's been on a bender, dude. Like
Michael Weiss.
oh,
He,
what I love about this is I feel like every person can relate to what Michael's going
oh,
through and
100%.
what Michael becomes in this episode for a
Yeah.
short period of time. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been through my benders where it's like I'm throwing all caution to the wind and I'm just like
Fuck
trying to
it.
ignore all like deep down shit and just
Yeah.
have fun and party.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
it it crashes down on you eventually, but in the moment it's fun.
That is true. That is very true. They make Michael think about death again, and then Eleanor tells him that humans are just a little sad all the time, and that's just how it be sometimes. And Michael gets better, and then he can handle all of his feelings. Tahani and Jason have a touching moment where uh, she's an 8 out of 13, which is the highest score that Jason can give.
Yeah, because it's a kind of like a tenth score, so
Yeah.
it goes 1 to 8 and 8 to 13, it going high and low. So like 7 and 9 are the second best scores you can get. It's such a weird thing. It's
Yeah,
not
it
even
doesn't make
even
sense.
too. It's not even it's not 1 to 16, 8 being the highest. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. But they end up having sex. So, that's a score for both of them. Do
Hmm.
you like their relationship? Do you ship them?
I mean, I think it's a cute relationship. It's definitely more like I see it more as like a fling. I mean, Jason and Janet will always be my favorite because their duality I
Oh,
think
that's
is the
so
best
weird.
duality ever.
Yes.
Because it's the being who knows everything and the being who knows nothing,
All
which
he
I
wants
think
is
is
jalapeno poppers.
yes. But I mean, I think the Jason and Tahani is a cute thing.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
And then we go into episode 5, which is what we alluded to earlier, the trolley problem.
Bah, bah. That was my impression of a trolley.
This is one of my favorite episodes,
Yeah,
probably.
this is a good one.
Um, Chidi starts going over the trolley problem with the class. Michael's having a hard time grasping this concept, and he comes up with an idea to kill all of the people on all the both train tracks,
Yeah.
and draws a diagram, and
Is that
then
like a
they make him
whiteboard or
write.
something?
Yeah, they make
I'd
him. They flip.
extend a pole out and decapitate the man while we pass by, killing the rest on the other track.
Yep, yep, and then Chidi flips over the chalkboard, and it's just it's like a long list of people are
People
good, people
equal good.
cool. And Michael has to write that 10 more times. It
Yeah.
just reminded me of the fish are friends, not food.
Oh, nice. It reminds me of Bart Simpson at the beginning of The Simpsons. Like the intro, it always starts out with
Mm.
Bart Simpson having to write things on the chalkboard and then riding his skateboard home.
But yeah, so Jason and Tahani go off to pound it out, to quote Jason.
Nice.
And then Tahani is embarrassed of him, so he tells her to go tell someone to talk about it, so she can learn why she feels this way. And then they go back and forth, be like, but if I tell someone, then they would know. And he's like, I
Yeah.
know, and you should tell someone. You should talk to someone. Why talk about someone? Why you think that's so weird? Like,
Yeah.
why you feel so weird about it? And then Michael says, I love the little like, I love how they slowly explain how like good people points work.
Yeah.
And being French gives you more bad people points, and
Yeah.
anything that's more French is bad. Because she starts talking to him about like May is Rob.
Les
I can
Mis.
never pronounce that. Les Miserables. Thank you.
Well, you can just call it Les Mis.
Yeah. And in that he steals French. He steals bread. Sorry.
Yeah.
He steals
He
bread
steals
for
French.
someone. He steals French. He steals bread to feed his family, and
he steals bread for himself because he's.
Is it for himself?
Yes, because he's
Okay.
poor.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's for his daughter or something like that. But either way,
I think it's for his. I'm pretty sure it's for his daughter. Yes. Because I've watched that. I've watched the movie like once, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
like
for
a bazillion times.
It's for his daughter. But yeah, Michael says he's in the bad place, and he says, and he got extra bad people points because he stole bread, and he stole and because if it's a baguette, it's more bad people points because that's more French. It's more French than just stealing normal bread. Michael, Eleanor, and Chidi go through the trolley problem in a simulation to help, because that's how Michael can grasp it. And they go through the doctor problem as well, where you can murder one person to save 5 other people with their organs. Chidi starts to freak out, and Eleanor figures out Michael's torturing them again.
Yeah, yep.
And Michael laughs like, sorry guys, I wanted to have a little fun.
Yeah,
And so
I just needed to blow off steam.
Yeah, so Chidi kicks Michael out of the class.
Yep.
Janet throughout the episode starts to counsel both Tahani and Jason on their relationship, and at the end starts to glitch out because she says she cares for them. She's happy to make them happy. And then Michael gives everyone gifts as an apology, but it's a bribe, not an apology. That's what Chidi tells him, and declines his gift. So Michael breaks down and says, I'm sorry to Chidi that he lashed out because he doesn't understand ethics, and it made him feel small that Chidi knows more about it than him. Chidi accepts that apology.
No, time out. First, Michael practically insults him.
Yeah.
And then says, what do you want me to say? That I'm this, and this? And then Chidi's like, yes, I want you to say that. And then he says the exact same thing, but with water in his eyes. And Chidi accepts it.
And a little bit more sincerity in his voice.
Per word recites the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I got pissed. I got so mad when he did that. Because I was just like, dude, you can't say the same thing.
I mean, I agree, but also, like, you can tell...
it's so rehearsed.
It is, but there's No, there was sincerity in his voice. There's sincerity that
Daniel,
second time.
He's a demon.
A demon attempting to get better.
Nah. He literally said, is this what you want me to tell you? Is this what you want to hear? Yes, that's exactly what I want to hear. And then just gives him what he wants to hear. And it's like...
But it wasn't just like, what, you want this? It was more like him blowing up and being angry and confused. And to quote Michael, the only 2 emotions you ever need, anger and confusion. And then when he like kind of blows up at him and yells, what do you want? What do you want? You want me to say that I felt small? And he starts yelling his feelings at Chidi.
Yeah.
He starts yelling his feelings, which are still real feelings. He's not just saying, do you want this? But he's saying, I am angry because I feel small, because you know more about ethics. I'm confused and I don't like it, and it made me feel small. And he's yelling those emotions at him, which are still his emotions. Like, he still feels that way. And then Chidi's like, yeah, that's all I wanted you to say. And then Michael realizing, oh shit, I could have that's all I need. Like that is what he wants, like me just to apologize and explain why. Then in a more sincerity way, like in a more sincere way, he then repeats it.
Yeah, but I mean, Chidi got his answer through an outburst of emotions that were still true, and he just didn't accept them.
I mean, yeah, I
Does
think it
that
was
make
more like
sense?
I get what you mean,
Yeah.
but I think what it came down to is like he's like, okay, good, you now know why you're now telling me why you acted this way, and we're kind of getting to the root cause of it. Now say it again without being a dick about it. You know what I mean? I think that's what it comes down to. You know, like
Yeah.
say it nicer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but I still didn't. I laughed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be funny for one. Yeah, I don't think he was just like giving him what he wanted to hear. But yeah, I can get why you felt that way.
Yeah, I just like I don't think like I knew that he this is a thing is that I like when he first was like saying his emotions like aggressively, like I feel like that should have been enough for Chidi to actually understand cuz he like I don't know cuz he was saying like, "Oh, should I feel like this and this?" and like that's like this is how I feel, right? And then it yeah, I don't know, dude. It was just the fact that he said the exact same thing but just almost crying just kind of made me go like, okay, well, Chidi, you just made him repeat himself. Like you didn't need to do that, but it makes sense. I don't know. It
I
just
get
it
what
just
you
made
mean.
me it just made me kind of like eh eh. Yes, sorry.
I can understand it. No, you're good. You're good. So then Janet says congratulations. She's happy for Jason and Jason and Tahani. I don't know where Chidi there. And then she helped them with the relationship. And then an earthquake happened. She goes to Michael and says they're in danger and she is glitching.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And then that's when we go into episode 6. Um, Starts off with Michael in the past, like in a memory, stealing a Good Place Janet from the void by accounting. They need a real Good Place Janet because the Bad Place Janets can't pretend to be Good Place Janets without melting,
Yeah.
and it's funny to see that
That was
happen.
so good.
And then we cut back. Oh, by the way, the actress who plays Janet has such good range in this show
Oh,
because
yes.
she's the Good Place Janets, she's the Bad Place Janets. She later in the show you see neutral Janets. She's a disco Janet. She does different like character like there's one episode in season 3 that really puts her acting abilities on like full display, and I won't spoil it for you so then you can just enjoy it, but she acts like multiple different characters all at once,
Oh, that's
and
so good.
it's so good. It's so good. Um and so starts off with him stealing a Janet, cuts back to present with Michael starting to do tests. Janet can summon everything. Everything seems to be good. And then he notices she can't process lies, and he thinks the issue was the first lie he told her, that he was a good place architect, and then all the lies after that. But Janet says that would have had glitches sooner if that was the case. Then they figure out the glitches started when she started helping Jason Tahani with their relationship. Then Janet says she's happy helping them, and a sandwich fell on the desk.
Like a
And
16-foot sandwich.
oh yeah, like a gigantic ass sandwich. And then uh not Jason, I wrote Jason there. Michael explains in the first reboot she married Jason, and from there on that must have mutated and grown through all the reboots. And Janet talks to Eleanor about this, and Eleanor tells her to find a rebound guy to get over Jason. So Janet makes a rebound guy, Derek.
I fucking hate
Enter Derek
Derek.
Hostetler. Dude, I'm glad you hate Derek. I don't like Derek either.
I hate Derek so much, and I'm happy
He's
that they got rid of him.
in one episode. I mean, it's a little spoiling, but like it's he is somehow like dumber than Jason.
Somehow. What do you mean somehow? He is levels more stupid than Jason.
Yeah, I just didn't think you could make a character stupider than Jason, but they did
Derek!
it. Yeah, Derek.
That's all he says, essentially. Well, he says other things, but like, when in doubt, just know that if addressed,
He's gonna,
all he says is Derek.
yeah. When in out, Derek out.
Honestly,
Um, I love seeing all the demons be bad in this season, like the first half of season 2.
yeah,
Um, I love seeing the maniacal evil side of Michael,
same.
and plus him slowly learning to be a good person is such a good arc for him. And so those are my favorite parts of season 2. My favorite parts of like the first half of season 2. My favorite
Yeah,
part of this season's the second half, but I still love all the episodes in the first half of season 2. I think
yeah,
they're all
they're solid.
bangers.
No, they're solid. I like them a lot. I liked. I really liked the beginning of this season, like the rebooting and everything like that. I loved
Yeah.
it. I think the cool thing about this season is that we get to see a lot more of Michael. I feel like actual Michael, not like good place Michael. You know, like we
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
see
we get
bad
this.
place Michael, like actually get to see
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
And
Michael the character,
yeah,
not the persona that he puts
in
on.
season 1. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, no, I really like this season as well.
Yeah, and that's like my favorite part of this is because Michael becomes quickly one of my favorite characters. Because
Oh, same.
watching through the show the first time,
I loved him in the first season. He was one of my favorites in the first season.
yeah, I enjoyed him in the first season a lot, and I thought he was funny and stuff. But there was parts like I didn't really like, but now knowing he was putting on a face, I was like, oh, that makes that even fucking better, dude.
Yeah.
That just makes it better. And this is your first time, like I've watched this show completely through. This is your first time watching season 2. So what was your initial thoughts of the first half? Would you say it kind of picked up where the first season left off? What would you kind of think about it like in like the quality of the episodes, I guess?
I liked it. I mean, I liked it just as much as the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it, like, I mean, even from the like season 1's episodes that we talked about, um, like this show just flows so well together, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the middle of the episodes are when episodes actually end, if that sounds correct. And then I don't know how to explain it. It's like everything is like it's like correct storytelling but like wrong episodically. Does that make sense?
They wrap up a lot of like what's going on in the episode, not in the last few minutes, but in
The next
they
few
do it
minutes.
like if there's like 3 sections of an episode, they wrap it up at the end of section 2 or the beginning of section 3, and then the rest of section 3 is them setting up the next episode,
Yeah. And
which is really wonky but awesome. I
yeah,
love it.
no, it's so cool. I think it's really smart, especially for like the topic of this show, like being just like, ethical morale, ethical
Hmm.
morality questions.
Yeah.
Um it's really cool. And like each episode, like every episode has like a small like little lesson, I guess, in it as well. Like you can learn from them. So, it's cool.
Which is really nice
Yeah.
and like it's nice because it's not like shoving the morals down your throat
No, it's
like the
just like, hey,
characters
open
are.
your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like religious based too. It's just like morality in general,
Yeah. It's just
which
the
is
dilemma of decisions.
exactly. Yeah, I love season 2 like I said. many times, it's my favorite season out of all of them. And not saying it gets worse, like all the seasons are bangers, but there's just so much to love. And I think the reason why I love it is it's like it still takes place mostly in the fake neighborhood, but we get to kind of like see it for what it all is, and we get to see really Michael be fully involved.
Yes, sir.
This is a good place to end this episode of the Noted Podcast. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. We appreciate your continued support, or if you're new here, we appreciate you stopping by. Please come back. We just released episodes of Midnight Mass last week, so check those out. We recorded with Patrick, so we have a guest, so check those out. We're going to try to have guests on a little bit more often. Isn't that right, Eric?
Yes, sir.
So please like, share, and subscribe. Have a fantastic day, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be, whatever time it might be. Make it good. This has been Noted.